Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. So around a week ago, I posted a video talking about my top 10 favorite comebacks of the year, and about like 3 or 4 days ago, I posted a video talking about my least favorite comebacks of 2022. So today we're gonna finish the trilogy and talk about the 10 most forgettable comebacks of this year. Just like the other two, I also posted a rendition of this video back in June or July, I forget which one honestly. And none of the songs that I talked about there are going to be in this video, so it's kind of like a two-part series, both parts being completely unique from each other. So if you want to hear about more 2022 K-pop songs that I thought were underwhelming, go check out part 1 either before or after you watch this. You should also know that this video is going to be split into 10 different sections, each one covering a different song, and number 10 is going to be the least forgettable in the list, and number 1 is going to be the most. Last thing before we start, make sure to go follow me on Instagram, link to my page will be in the pinned comment, and without further ado, let's talk about song number 10.
Tap, tap, tap. Ay, tap, tap, tap. 네 미소도 tap, tap, tap.
So at number 10, we have Tap by Secret Number, a song that I thought had potential to be this group's greatest work yet, but really fell flat in a lot of different areas. So Tap is Secret Number's first song that experiments with the genre of deep house, and if you don't know, some examples of other songs that fall under this genre are Glitch by Kwon Eunbi and Four Walls by FX. And I think when compared to basically any other deep house song, Tap feels a little bit unremarkable. Deep house is a genre that really excels on how atmospheric its songs can be, meaning that you can understand the mood and emotion behind a song just by listening to it. But in my opinion, Tap feels pretty bland. The instrumental is decent enough, but it's definitely not anything groundbreaking. The aspect of the song that I really have a problem with is actually the vocals, both from a production standpoint and a delivery standpoint. In terms of delivery, I feel like a lot of the singing sounds kind of squeaky, especially in areas like the second half of the chorus and the bridge. It sounds like the girls are struggling to hit the notes that they're supposed to sing, which really takes me out of the whole chic and effortless vibe that Tap is going for. And in terms of production, I feel like they could have used a lot more vocal effects, adding elements like echo, or even changing the volume of the vocals in different parts. I think would add a nice sense of movement into the song, because right now in the most intense parts and in the most soft parts of the song, the vocals sound the exact same, which doesn't really work with deep house tracks that are supposed to have levels of intensity. Essentially what I'm trying to say though is that I feel like Tap is sort of bland and doesn't have that same magic that most other deep house songs do, which put it at number 10 on my list.
Tell me what you want, tell me what you need. Make you see the night above.
Coming in at number 9, we have Talk That Talk by Twice. Now, Talk That Talk is actually one of my favorite Twice title tracks when it comes to how good their voices sound. Jihyo and Nayeon once again killed it in the chorus and bridge, but I do feel like Talk That Talk lacks a little bit of memorability when it comes to things like the melody. Well, actually mainly just the melody. Of course, I know a lot of people disagree with me, and that's totally fine, but personally, in areas like the chorus, the transition between Jihyo and Sana's lines doesn't feel very fluid. The line, tell me what you want, tell me what you need, and the line, talk that talk, dakan madi, they don't really feel like they come from the same song, or at least the same section, so it doesn't really get stuck in my head like a lot of other Twice songs do. I actually do still listen to Talk That Talk, but I don't find myself singing it when I'm just going about my day. But I will find myself going, Love Ain't a Science, Don't Need No License, or You Make Me Feel Special. There's not really any concrete evidence I have for why I think Talk That Talk is forgettable. It's more so just like, in my opinion, Talk That Talk isn't quite as catchy, which is surprising because making catchy songs is usually Twice's forte. And because of this, I put Talk That Talk at number 9. At number 8, we have Doom Doo Doom by P1 Harmony. Mostly being forgettable because I feel like it was a little bit out of date, I guess. So this song was released in July, which was not that long ago, and I would say that it mostly falls under the pop rock genre. And I feel like pop rock was kind of popular last year and at the beginning of this year with songs like Tomboy, so I feel like by July, this sound was a little bit overdone. At this point, things like the Y2K trend and using classical samples were more so the big things, so this pop rock song, in my opinion, got a little bit lost in the crowd. Now, that's not to say that Doom Doo Doom is bad. I actually think it's a pretty good good rendition of the pop rock trend, but by the time it came out, I wasn't really interested in listening to songs like this anymore. If it came out earlier, I probably would have been obsessed with it, but the way things are now, it's kind of just a song where I listen to it every once in a while, and my desire never really goes beyond that. Still, it's not bad, and that's why it's only at number 8.
Okay, I'm nerdy, but I'm not stupid. I'll try.
Number 7 is Nerdy by Purple Kiss, and I'm gonna say right now, you are allowed to think that everything I'm about to say is super dumb. Because even I can acknowledge that it's not the most logical reasoning, but it's my truth, so I'm gonna say it. Okay, so when I think of Purple Kiss's songs in 2022, the only one that really comes to mind is Mem Mem, which might be confusing because I've said multiple times on my channel how much I dislike it. And I like Nerdy, I genuinely do. But I think my dislike for Mem Mem is stronger than the enjoyment I have for Nerdy. Like, does that make sense? Because I dislike Mem Mem so much, it's kind of the first thing I think about when Purple Kiss pops into my head. And that dislike kind of overshadows how much I enjoy their other songs, so I end up forgetting tracks like Nerdy. Sometimes I may specifically think about Nerdy and go out of my way to listen to it, but then other times I'll subconsciously be like, do I want to listen to Purple Kiss? And then I'll remember Mem Mem, and then I'll just choose a different artist to listen to. That might not make much sense, but I don't really know any other way to explain it. So to sum it up, I dislike Mem Mem more than I like Nerdy, so I don't really find myself listening to Nerdy or thinking about Purple Kiss in general, and that's why it's at number 7. Number 6 is Fire by EXID, although I kind of just call them EXID. And I wish I liked Fire more than I do, but sadly, especially for a 10-year reunion comeback, Fire feels very meh. As we know, EXID is a group known for their not loud, but more so boisterous title tracks with super powerful vocals and earwormy instrumentals. But Fire is really different from EXID's usual catalog and is more like a girl crush type of song. And they only really get to show their vocals in the pre-chorus and the bridge, which, not gonna lie, was pretty disappointing. I don't know why for their reunion EXID decided to do something out of their comfort zone instead of what they're already good at, because I know this is such an overused comparison, but I feel like Fire sounds like a budget Blackpink song, and doesn't stand out in the already huge catalog of girl crush songs in K-pop. It doesn't sound like an EXID track at all, more like a random girl group that debuted in 2019, and because of this, I moved on from Fire pretty quickly. It can be fun to listen to every once in a while, but Fire is not excellent by any means, and stands as both one of EXID's weakest title tracks and one of the most forgettable songs of 2022. At number 5, we have Girls by Aespa, which is mainly here because of how it failed to meet a lot of people's expectations of it. See, Next Level and Savage, which were Aespa's comebacks last year, were both complete spectacles, and are some of the most influential songs in all of 4th Gen. So after those two songs, when SM Entertainment made people wait around 10 months for Aespa's next comeback in 2022, I think we all believed it was going to be just as much of a smash hit, if not more. But instead the reception to Girls was pretty lukewarm. To be frank, I just don't think Girls is as good as Aespa's other title tracks, and it's pretty safe to say that a lot of others thought the same. I mean, not only did Girls chart worse than Next Level and Savage, but at this point it's also arguable that Girls is less popular than Illusion, which is a B-side on the album for Girls. Along with people thinking that Illusion's a better song, people also think that it has better choreography, and that Illusion fits better in Aespa's discography, while people often said that Girls sounded like it would fit more with SM Entertainment's boy group NCT. Of course, Girls isn't an unpopular song, but it gets overshadowed by Aespa's other music both in terms of popularity and quality, so it ends up being pretty dang forgettable. Because of all of these reasons, I put Girls at number 5, and now let's move on to number 4. Next up is Smartphone by Yena, and I'm not gonna lie, out of her 2 singles this year, Smartphone and Smiley, I actually like Smartphone way more. I think Smartphone is much more catchy and much more cute, and its bridge is one of the best bridges of the year in my opinion. However, I know I'm in the minority of people who think that, because in terms of popularity and success, Smiley did like 10 times better than Smartphone. The 2 songs are very similar, and from what I've seen online, most people seem to think that Smartphone is just a worse version of Smiley, which which, as I said before, I don't agree with, but that's what most people have said. And if you look online on, say, Spotify, Smiley has over 10 times the amount of streams that Smartphone does, and is still more popular than Smartphone despite coming out much earlier. Honestly, this isn't really surprising considering I still see people talking about Smiley today, and it feels like most people forgot about Smartphone in like a week. If it was up to me, Smartphone would have been even more successful than the smash hit that Smiley was, but sadly, that's not the case, so Smartphone lies at number 4 on this list. At number 3, we have Birthday by Red Velvet, which is another song that I actually do enjoy. Although it's not one of my absolute favorite Red Velvet title tracks, I thought it was pretty fun and a really safe follow-up to Feel My Rhythm. But it seems like even though it came out less than a month ago, people already want to forget that this song exists. I've already seen people say that Birthday has tarnished Red Velvet's 2022 run, and people in general are acting like Birthday is the worst thing that Red Velvet has ever put out, which I can't help but disagree with. I can understand people saying that the lyrics are a little bit cringy, but I mean, this is the same group that released Dum Dum and Rookie, so it's not like this is really out of character for them. I've also seen a lot of people say that Birthday is the worst song on the mini album, which I personally don't agree with. I would probably put it below Bye Bye and On a Ride, but that's it really. And overall, I'm just kind of sad to see that so many people think this comeback was like a bad idea, or that they should have done something different. I don't know about the rest of you, but considering this is the first time in like years that Red Velvet has had multiple comebacks in 1 year, I can't really find it in me to complain. Like, I'm just glad that we got multiple comebacks in 2022, both of which had above average music, at least to me. But even though it came out so recently, I can already tell that Birthday is going to be one of Red Velvet's most forgettable eras ever, which leaves it at number 3. Coming in at number 2, we have World by 17, a song that's pretty cute if nothing else, and reminds me a bit of some of the group's older title tracks like Oh My or Pretty You. Now, in my eyes, I actually think World is one of the best things 17 has put out in the past like 3 or 4 years. Not to be annoying, but I would say that I enjoyed 17's earlier music more than songs such as Hot or Rock With You, so I thought that World was a pretty nice back to basics moment for the group. However, I definitely understand where people are coming from when they say that World sounds like a B-side, mostly because of how peaceful it sounds. Usually 17 title tracks are more exciting or even chaotic, so World is much more tame than usual. It's honestly a kind of song that I could see myself falling asleep to, not necessarily in a bad way. I'm not calling it boring, I'm just saying it doesn't really scream title track. And it's more so a song that I would put on my playlist and be excited when it comes on shuffle versus something I would actively go out of my way to listen to, which could be a part of why Hot was the more popular song they released this year. I guess what I'm trying to say is I actually do like World, but to put it simply, it's kind of forgettable, which is the whole point of this video and is the reason it's at number 2. And now, the moment we've all been waiting for, let's talk about the most forgettable song of the year. So, in my opinion, the most forgettable song of 2022 is Sparkling by Chungha. Being her only official comeback of the year, I thought Sparkling was going to make a lot of waves when it first came out, but instead its time seemed to come and go without making any noticeable noise, which is pretty crazy considering how Chungha used to dominate K-pop with songs like Gotta Go and Snapping. But barely anyone I know cared to talk about Sparkling, and those who did called it underwhelming at best, which, I mean, I don't completely disagree with. Sparkling's another one of those synthy retro K-pop songs, but the retro trend's been dead for like over a year at this point, so it kind of makes sense that not many people were loving it. Sparkling also doesn't have any super memorable melody. I know it's an overused phrase, but it kind of sounds like something you would hear in H&M, and there's nothing about Sparkling that feels special. It's not super catchy, it follows a super outdated trend, and to top it all off, it wasn't even promoted well. Like, it's her most recent comeback, and it's her 9th most popular song on Spotify. If that doesn't tell you that something's wrong, then I don't know what will. I really don't put any blame on Chungha herself for this comeback being forgettable. I would mostly blame it on her company for bad management and marketing, because in all honesty, these past 2 years have been horrible for Chungha, and it feels like her company is the one holding her back. So I hope that something can change soon, because if not, then I wouldn't be surprised if Chungha fades out of relevancy forever. But I sincerely hope that doesn't happen. And that concludes this video. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. If you did enjoy, don't forget to leave a like, and if you want to see more of my content, consider subscribing. And in the comment section, let me know what you think the most forgettable song of 2022 was. Before we go, I'd like to thank our channel members, Opichin ITZY, Woo Twice Tees, Dog, Zeus112, Jackie, Savvy H, Soda Scribbles, Shiny, Mizu Monorovie, Cassie, Gav, Chili's Cafe, Ale, Che, Julian Zalazar, Alpha Fox, Edgy Does Things, Namjoon's Last AirPods, Caitlin Castor, Flo099, Woo Youngie, Male T, Kieran Johnston, Sunmi Shine, Julia, Stay22, Damien J, Lennon, Adifa N, JYP Jisunggi, Sonorinth, and Jed. Thank you all so much for supporting the channel, and without further ado, I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.